Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from the beautiful metaverse and more specifically from beautiful Danville, Illinois, homeland of the Corellian tradition. And this is Midday with Reverend Don. And today is October 31st. So welcome to Midday. I hope you're having a lovely day. And as you know, if you follow Midday with Reverend Don, you can communicate with me directly by typing your questions or comments directly into whatever platform you happen to be watching on, and they will appear here in my chat room and we will talk directly. So you can see I'm using a different background today. I'm still um, learning to work with the backgrounds on this particular platform. If you followed my daily vlog for the decade that I was doing it, I used to use a lot of different virtual backgrounds. Um, I'm still working with just a few here that are provided, but I'm looking how to upload my existing backgrounds for the future. But it was pointed out to me that having the same background every day, as I was doing in my office at the old apartment, really was not very exciting. So we're looking at having a range of backgrounds in the future. I hope you find that interesting. It's going to be interesting because I have some interesting backgrounds. Today we have Stonehenge, and it's just one that comes with the platform, but I thought it was appropriate since we are right on the edge of the Grand Sabbat of Samhain, or Bolshana or Beltane in the southern hemisphere, Samhain in the northern hemisphere, and um, Halloween in everyday parlance. And tonight will be the night traditionally reserved for trick-or-treating for children. Hello to Shayla. Um, Sheila in the chat room, she says that's a good background. Thank you, Sheila. And it is a lovely picture, isn't it? And hello to Black Crystal in the chat room. My Here in Illinois, we've had a lot of people who have been trick-or-treating several days already. My little grandson had a costume of a T-Rex, an inflatable T-Rex, and he was out trick-or-treating on Saturday, I believe it was. Or maybe it was Sunday, but he was out on the weekend. And I got sent some lovely video of his adventures, including a dinosaur fight with a fellow T-Rex. But that was quite interesting. I personally am a greatly fond of trick-or-treating and Halloween customs. Hello to Mary in the chat room. Good to see you, Mary. We did our calling the ancestors ritual this weekend. Tonight, the Corellian First Priesthood are doing an overnight vigil from, I believe, 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. Eastern Time. And I think that will be quite the lovely experience. So lots of things happening. I had a lovely experience last night. I happened to go for a walk um, in my perfectly ordinary clothing. And as I'm coming home, a young man starts calling to me, and my first thought was, "Oh, um, it's 10 o'clock at night. What's going on?" Turns out he wanted to take a Halloween picture with me because he loved my costume. Hello to Mary Cavalcante in the chat room. I was just wearing my black coat and top hat, but what are you going to do? It reminds me of the time I went to the Downton Abbey costume exhibit in Florida at one of the local museums, and people were complimenting my period costume, and I was not wearing one. Um, but I am known for dressing in a certain style. But I very much enjoyed being stopped for that photo. It really made my night. Lovely young man, and he had a lovely friend with him. It was very nice to have that experience. So it's um, been several lovely days leading up to this. I find myself feeling better than I've felt for some time, um, and this certainly is good. Our subject for today, of course, is Soan, and and also the idea of a happy new year for all of us, because Soan is the for most religious witches, certainly most Wiccans, Soan is the turn of the liturgical year. Not universally, but widely. When I was young, there were also a number of traditions who turned their year at the spring equinox. Um, you don't really see that so much now, but it was a bigger thing then. Um, but Samhain is the festival of the ancestors, and a hello to Mermaid Infinity Rainbow. And it's good to see you, Mermaid Infinity Rainbow. And Mermaid Infinity Rainbow says, "Blessed Samhain." And of course, the festival of Samhain is Celtic in origin, and the name has several different possible pronunciations. The most common ones are Samhain, Samhain, Samhain. And of course, you often get Samhain, which sets some people off, and personally, I'm not terribly bothered by it because most people don't speak Gaelic and have no idea how to pronounce it until someone points it out to them. And also, most of the other Grand Sabbats have Gaelic names that no one can pronounce. Spirit activity. Um, Either that or something interesting is going on somewhere in the house. But Beltane is not pronounced Beltane in Gaelic either. But you never hear anyone get upset about that. And we don't even want to get started with Deasil, which is not pronounced that way in Gaelic either. So my thought is we should be tolerant of people's attempts to pronounce things. And Janet, hello to Janet in the chat room. Janet says, "Hello, Lord Don. I love the background. Blessed Samhain to you." Thank you, Janet. And blessed Samhain to you. And and Mermaid says, "I used to love those different backgrounds. I learned so much from your earlier and modern vlogs." Thank you, Mermaid. I enjoyed doing the vlogs. Um, but 10 years is a long time for a single format. And I must have had 50 different backgrounds at the end of it. And even when I was using real world backgrounds, at that point I was filming at the museum in Salem, and there were lots of different interesting backgrounds. Hello to Melanie in the chat room. It's good to see you, Melanie. Um, but I'm hoping to master the art of uploading my different backgrounds here, and so you'll start seeing them again, and some new ones. Last night in my chat room, I had the Green Man tapestry that I used to use all the time. I've been using my wooden paneling background also. Hello to Elisa in the chat room, and it's good to see you, and blessed Samhain to you. Um, it's also worth mentioning that in addition to the Gaelic name of this holiday, there are many others. Some of them Celtic, some of them not, because this holiday got spread throughout Europe and um, most of the rest of the world through a variety of functions. So you will find, particularly because it got integrated into the Roman Catholic calendar as All Saints' Day, that the idea of celebrating your ancestors on this day has spread throughout what was once the Roman Catholic world. And is widely tied to earlier pagan holidays in different parts of that world. For example, in the Hispanic world, you'll find the Dia de los Muertos, which is full of pre-Columbian significance, um, but also is tied to that date because of the Catholic Church and its connections to the earlier Celtic Church. Most people don't remember that the role of the Celtic Church in what we would call the late Dark Ages, when it became for a time the leading branch of Christianity and very, very different from where it would later go. And that's how the Grand Sabbats that we acknowledge in religious witchcraft came to be part of the Christian calendar, where for many centuries they also were. Um, but their origin is in Celtic culture, at least apparently, because earlier cultures than that we're pre-literate. We don't necessarily know if it may have been adapted from still older things, but just what can be historically um, spoken of goes back many, many centuries, many millennia um, through Celtic history. How far into Celtic history, nobody can really say because they did not leave written records. But it appears to go as far back as you'd want it to go, and has come forward as far forward as we are, and that's quite a remarkable thing. But human culture is that way. We don't forget things; we carry them forward. We make them new, and I think that's a very important point in um, in our pagan community that we're not recreating what our ancestors did. We're bringing it forward into our lives and making it new, making it part of this world, the modern world, the world we live in, not just play acting it. It's part of our lives. And I think it's very important we remember that. We're preserving it, but we're also adapting it. And we certainly do not do at our Samhain celebrations exactly what the ancient Celts did, um, nor the peoples in between. Our customs have continued to evolve, and that's how life is. I'm a great believer in the idea that we're not here just to transmit, um, but to adapt and to evolve. And I believe, and in my new book, the Corellian Book of the Dead, which we're preparing to order, and will be in people's hands within the next couple of weeks, more or less around November 11th, when we said, we talk about the idea that the Earth is in a moment of evolution. The human race is in a moment of human evolution, and the rest of the planet, the other species, I believe, are also all evolving at the same time. And, what we have in a couple of generations may be very different in many ways because there is so much change and development happening. And, and this has to be true also of our customs and our beliefs. We cannot be flies in amber unless we want to be dead, because that's what flies in amber are. They're beautifully preserved, but they're dead. Um, in the Third Degree book, I believe I wrote about this, and I talked about how, you can examine the insect in the amber and learn a lot about it, but you'll never know how it moved. You'll never know how it sounded. Those things are gone. You have to see it when it's alive to understand that. And we are alive, and we must be alive. And it's our duty to be alive and to keep our customs and our beliefs alive. So as you celebrate Samhain, you want to honor your ancestors. You want to honor the past, but you also want to make it part of the present. The whole idea of Samhain is not that you're looking at old photos of your ancestors, but that you're bringing them out for the family now. That you're setting the plate at the table for the ancestors now. That it's not the past, it's the present and the future. And we're keeping our circle unbroken as we move forward. Now, in the chat room, Mermaid made the comment, one, she loves Witch School. Witch School is a wonderful thing. I'm very happy to have been involved in it. And she remarks that she used to mispronounce Samhain also, but she agrees, why get upset? We're all different. Um, and her channel, Mermaid Infinity, Rainbow, is all about acceptance, and that's exactly as it should be. And I'm very happy to know that. And Mermaid goes on to say some very nice things about the work that we have done. And after all, we're all one. And we really are. And we forget. We need to remember we really are one. That's one of the central teachings of most metaphysics. That whole as above, so below thing. That's what that means. It's not all that it means. It has many different levels, but part of it is that As above, so below, as the creative force of the universe, so everything in it. It is all unified at a certain level and separate at another. And we are here to experience the separation and through it achieve greater understanding of the unity. And it sure does seem some days like we spend more time examining that separation, but that's where we are right now. And but we still must remember that there's also a unity in life. And if no other unity should appeal to everyone, the fact that we're all on one planet is something we should all be aware of. That what happens to that planet, what happens to the resources of that planet, what happens to the pollution of that planet, etc., it affects all of us. We're all one in that. Whether you believe that we're all ultimately one spirit through many phases, um, we all cannot escape the fact that we're all living in the same place. And the better care we take of that place, the better we're all going to be for it. But coming back to Samhain, Samhain is the liturgical New Year. And it is a time, like all New Year holidays, to let go of the old and embrace the new. And it's a time of change and transformation. One of the things you'll notice in all New Year holidays, that I'm familiar with at least, is that they focus on the first part being letting go of the old, often the overturning of the natural order of the universe. You see this in Saturnalia, which was once a New Year holiday. You see it in April Fool's Day, which was once a New Year holiday. And then with the coming of the new day, the return of order and a new beginning to the world. You see that very strongly at Samhain when um, during the Ikahona, the um, the night of Samhain, people wear all these costumes to show that we are in that chaos moment. We're in that moment when the old patterns break along with the old year, and the new patterns can be set with the coming of the sun. So, as you celebrate tonight, while you honor your past, while you honor your ancestors, while you perhaps go trick or treating or go to a party or watch some spooky film, think about those things that you want to leave in the old liturgical year and the things you want to develop in the new one. Um, it's a time of transformation, so use that time, and it is a time to honor the past tonight and move forward tomorrow. And I think sometimes we forget that this holiday has both those aspects to it. And, arguably every day you're alive has both those aspects. But at this time, we really focus on it. So, for me, I want to wish everyone a happy liturgical New Year. And I want to wish you the transformations that you want. I want to wish you the good things, the new things that you wish to embrace, and success in letting go of the old things you wish to release. And I figure before the end of our hour, maybe we'll take just a moment to focus on that. I mean, the end of our half hour, we will take a moment to focus on that. It is, it's been a very interesting year all the way around. It's been a year of breaking down old systems more obviously than some, but this whole last decade has involved the breaking down of systems that once seemed indestructible. Things we never thought we'd see, we've seen. And I'm sure there's more coming. Byron Ballard calls this tower time. And if you're familiar with the tarot, the tower is the destruction of the old and the coming of the new. And I think we are very much in that time. In our Calling the Ancestors ceremony, which we did over the weekend, The primary act was bringing forth messages from the ancestors, messages from the Corellian ancestors, messages from everyone's ancestors. But the Corellian ancestors were actually in the recording, and they basically gave that message that the world as we knew it is exploding and new birth is happening, and it's our duty to help to shape that new birth into what we want to see, into the better world we want to have, or others will shape it in other ways. And I think that this is very much exactly where we stand. So as you look at the background behind me, I've chosen it for a reason. Beyond the fact that it's Stonehenge, but you also will see that it's either sunrise or sunset. And you could judge either way. And as far as this holiday goes, it's both. Um, and we want to focus on the sunset of the old and the sunrise of the new. And I'm going to ask you to take a moment and find a nice, comfortable position and just let any excess energy run out of you like water running down through your arms and your legs and out through your hands and your feet. And take a moment to become aware of your heart and to focus on your heart, on your center, and to feel your heart. And in your heart, feel the light and the love of spirit because it's always there. And take a moment to think of the things that burden you in your life, the things you don't want to carry forward. Think of them now and place them strongly in your mind's eye. And imagine all of those things slowly beginning to shine with a beautiful bright white light. And let that light shine out from them until it becomes a ball of white light around them. And take a moment to flush that ball of white light with purple light and see it glow a beautiful bright purple. And as it does so, see all of those burdens disappear. See them dissipate into thousands of tiny particles and then nothing at all. The energy dissipating to be recycled and used in other ways. And see that ball of purple light turn back to a ball of white light and grow smaller and smaller and smaller and send it away. Now take a moment and think of all the things you're grateful for in life. Think of these things and again see them strongly in your mind's eye. And again see them glowing with a beautiful bright white light. And into this bright white light, allow there to come a beautiful blue white light, shining forth with a beautiful light blue color, raising the vibration of all the things you're grateful for in life. And to these things now add the new things you want to develop in your life. And see that beautiful blue light making all these things stronger and larger and better. Divine Mother Goddess, Divine Father God, beloved ancestors, we ask you to help us to increase these good things in our lives as the wheel of the liturgical year changes and a new dawn comes to us Let it come also into our lives. Beloved ones, we thank you. Now, take a moment and let that image fade, but do not dissipate it. Simply let it fade. And return to where you are, and once again release any excess energy. Let it flow through you like water running down through your arms and your legs, and returning to the universe to be used in other ways. And Mermaid in the chat room has a question. And her question is, are we our ancestors through our DNA and reincarnation? And my answer is, well, yes. We know that the past is in the DNA. We have learned that. But I'm also a great believer in reincarnation. But as you know, if you've studied my work, I'm also a believer in serial reincarnation, in simultaneous reincarnation, or um, probable reincarnation, if you would, in parallel reincarnation. I believe reincarnation is far more complex than how we've often looked at it. We talk about that in considerable detail in the Book of the Dead, if you'd like more information, and also we've talked about it on this program on other occasions and on my vlog in many places. And maybe we'll do another show dealing with just the concept of reincarnation. But yes, I do think it's in the DNA of all the world as we know it and the universe as well. I see no reason it wouldn't be everywhere. Because one of the things I think we've made a mistake in, and it's a natural mistake because our focus always is ourselves, because that's where our consciousness is at this moment. But the reality is, everything is here. And so we often think of ourselves as humans as being somehow different from nature. Sometimes we think of the earth as being different from the universe. Um, I'll tell you, they're all the same organism. If one is evolving, they're all evolving. If one is learning, they're all learning. If one is alive, they're all alive. And if one is us, they're all us. It's a matter of where our consciousness is. And one of the things that we do when we study metaphysics, particularly if we study deeply, is we move our consciousness around to experience these other facets of existence. And that can be a very enlightening thing. Um, it's one thing to see the world through our human eyes, where we are right now, but through deep meditation, we can see it from so many other advantages as well. And through astral travel, we can see it through so many other advantages. Um, it is a deeply enlightening experience to change our viewpoint, um, as spirit itself constantly uses all these viewpoints. And I would say your higher self, your soul, is using all these viewpoints. It's your conscious mind that's limited to where your conscious is. It's not your being. And one of the things that I found myself talking about at some length in the Book of the Dead is the difference between our conscious self and our soul, and why they're not the same. Why, when we speak about our ancestors, they're not the same as they were um, when they were living consciously in this world. You're dealing with their higher selves, at least the way that I work with ancestors who are. That is the part of them that becomes the ancestor. That's why they tend to be so much. Even when they were very encompassing in life, they're far more so as ancestors. And this is one of the reasons, together with the fact of where they are. And this is one of the things to consider at this holiday. When we work with our spirits, um, it's on one hand the people we knew, but it's also their higher self. It is their best self that we're really working with. And they see far more where they are than they did when they were here. I've had a lot of people who say that they couldn't work with their ancestors because they were limited people in life. But if they've truly crossed over, that should not be how you find them as ancestors. I think you'll find them far more expanded. And hello to Brian in the chat room, and hello to Emma in the chat room. It's good to see you both. I see we've come to the end of our half hour. I want to once again wish you a happy Samhain and a happy Beltane if you are in the Southern Hemisphere. And these are both the gates of the year, one leading to summer, one leading to winter, and of course, Samhain leading to the beginning of a new liturgical year. So let us close as we always do with our prayer, and I will see you tomorrow at the start of a new liturgical year. Divine Mother Goddess, Divine Father God, beloved ancestors, we thank you for all that you do for us in our lives, and we ask you to help us to be mindful of this time of change and transformation, and to help us to consciously leave behind what we have outgrown and consciously embrace what awaits us in the new year, the things we desire, the things we need, and help us to learn the lessons our higher self sets out for us in ways that are enjoyable and beneficial, and not to fight against them, but to make them welcome parts of our life. Help us to begin a wonderful, happy new year. And we thank you, beloved ones, now and always. And we know you are always with us, but from respect, we thank you for your presence, and may you be blessed now and always. May you be blessed now and always, and happy Samhain and happy liturgical new year to everyone. And again,